Global markets are walking a tightrope this week as political uncertainty, trade tensions, and technology shifts all jostle for dominance. From central bank moves in Southeast Asia to anxiety over U.S. institutions, today's headlines reveal how fragile investor confidence can be when policies turn protectionist and unpredictable. My name is Eniola Lunge, and here's today's Zoom Out for July 16, where I help you see the bigger picture. Reports that U.S. President Trump inquired about the possibility of dismissing Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell sent ripples through capital markets today, leading to initial dips in U.S. stock indexes, a decline in the dollar, and a surge in Treasury yields as traders reacted to the potential implications for the Fed's independence and stability. Trump later downplayed the possibility of firing Powell, stating it was highly unlikely unless Powell were to leave for other reasons. The episode highlights ongoing investor concerns about political influence on monetary policy, especially in an election year. So what's your Zoom Out takeaway? This event underscores that even the mere suggestion of politicizing the Federal Reserve can disrupt global financial markets. The credibility of central institutions like the Fed is a crucial pillar of economic stability, and any hint of interference can be difficult to repair and potentially lead to long-term consequences for the dollar's global standing and market confidence. The U.S. is pushing forward with plans to impose tariffs on imports from a range of smaller economies, including a 13% tariff specifically targeting South African goods effective August 1. The South African Reserve Bank has publicly voiced concerns that these tariffs could lead to significant job losses, potentially reaching 100,000 positions, with agriculture and the automotive sectors facing the biggest hits. South African car exports to the United States have already experienced a sharp decline in the wake of earlier tariffs, and trade tensions and their potential repercussions on global supply chains and emerging market currencies have been a dominant topic in discussions, including at the ongoing G20 finance minister meeting in South Africa. So what's your Zoom Out takeaway? This situation highlights the broader phenomenon of trade disputes and the far-reaching consequences on economies and labor markets, particularly in developing nations, underscoring the complexity and potential risks of protectionist policies. A recent American Chamber of Commerce survey found that American firms in China are seeing record low investment intent, with fewer than half optimistic about the future. The survey also revealed a record high number of American businesses planning to relocate operations outside of China. A similar trend is also occurring with European companies in China, also reported to be scaling back investment plans due to a slowing Chinese economy and fierce competition, according to a May survey from the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China. Surprisingly, Chinese exports accelerated in June, beating expectations, driven mostly by factories rushing to ship goods and take advantage of a temporary reprieve on U.S. tariffs before the August effective date. This surge was also boosted by companies diversifying export destinations beyond the U.S., with exports to the 10 Southeast Asian nations in the ASEAN group soaring 17% from the previous year. So what's your Zoom Out takeaway? Global manufacturers are indeed pausing expansion, and logistics and chemical companies are anticipating slower revenue. Companies are eyeing Southeast Asia as a diversification strategy, seeking to reduce reliance on China's markets and supply chain. The UN has warned that high levels of uncertainty are paralyzing business decisions and impacting trade, leading to lowered global GDP forecasts. Bank Indonesia trimmed its benchmark rate to 5.25% shortly after securing a deal that reduces U.S. tariffs on Indonesian goods from a threatened 32% down to 19%. The central bank aims to cushion its economy against global headwinds and boost domestic demand, according to the Jakarta Post. The rupiah steadied, while Indonesian equities got a small lift on renewed investor optimism. Experts welcome the tariff reprieve, but analysts note that growth remains fragile. So what's your zoom out takeaway? Emerging economies are adapting fast, but even good news is reactionary in a world shaped by tariff diplomacy. Rate cuts are short-term tools for long-term uncertainty. The U.S. Department of Defense is tapping AI heavyweights like OpenAI, Google, xAI, and Anthropic to tackle national security challenges. Zest AI, a pioneer in credit scoring algorithms, earned a top spot on CNBC's FinTech 200 list, highlighting AI's growing grip on finance and defense. Tech stocks responded positively, with defense-aligned AI firms seeing modest gains. Meanwhile, traditional lenders are increasingly exploring partnerships with fintech firms to stay competitive. So what's your zoom out takeaway? The AI arms race is clearly no longer just theoretical. Governments and markets are aligning behind tech as a force multiplier, not just in profits, but in policy and defense. So the rules of global commerce are being rewritten in boardrooms, on trading floors, and now even in central banks. From Jakarta to Johannesburg, nations are recalibrating not just to survive volatility, but to navigate a system increasingly shaped by power plays and algorithms. Whether it's tariffs or tech contracts, the cost of being unprepared is rising. When the world zooms in on the noise, I zoom out so you can see the bigger picture. Which of the stories are you following? Drop your take in the comments and don't forget to subscribe.